This is one of those cases that doesn't just stay on the screen, it stays with you. Because this isn't just about crime. This is about a mother, sitting in court, trying to explain a life that was taken too soon. And what makes this even harder to watch is how normal everything felt, right before everything changed.
All right, we are ready to proceed, ladies and gentlemen. This witness has been previously sworn to testify truthfully. Mr. Staten.
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, we've seen you sitting here in court since this case started. Would you introduce yourself to be sure?
My name is Maitland Gandy. I'm better known as the mother of Athena Presley Monroe Strand.
And I'm going to show you something that's been admitted already into evidence. Would you please?
Yes.
Ms. Thompson talked about this picture here, and I want to ask you, she mentioned that she had a little grin on his face. Do you have a better explanation about why she has a grin on her face?
I do. So this was taken about a month before she was murdered, and we were at a Mexican restaurant in our hometown, and I wanted to get a picture of her and her baby sister, my baby sister, all together, and she stole an orange from my drink, and she had it in her mouth to look like it. She looked like a little monkey, and I took the original picture, not noticing the orange in her mouth, and then of course, being the mom that I am, I said Athena Presley, and she immediately closed her lips around that orange so she could hide the orange and take the picture that I wanted.
That's the reason for the grin.
Yes, sir.
You said this picture was taken when?
About a month before she was killed.
Let me show you another picture that's been admitted into evidence. And I think we've seen this one. When was this picture taken? Was this one of the last times you saw Athena?
I had a little bit more than 24 hours left with her. I just didn't know it at the time.
And we heard from Ms. Thompson that Athena was living here for a little while. And I guess that little more time is the time it took you to get from where you were in Oklahoma to the meeting spot with Jacob. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And I say Jacob. Who's Jacob?
Jacob is Athena's daddy.
Okay. And where do y'all normally meet?
ASAP and Bowie, Texas.
Do you remember the last thing you said to Athena?
I told her that I loved her and that I would see her on Friday. We had a quick drop off because her daddy was going to take them to the Christmas lights that night. So it's not the goodbye that I would have wanted.
That small moment, an orange in her mouth, a child being playful. That's what makes this so painful. Because you're not looking at a headline. You're looking at a real little girl with personality, with humor, with love. And in court, her mother isn't just giving testimony. She's trying to bring her back to life, one memory at a time.
She was the perfect mixture of me and Jacob. She loved to wear her pretty princess dresses, but at the same time, she would play in the dirt in those same pretty princess dresses. And she was free, and she was wild, and she was bright, and she was loving. She wanted to be loved and to give love, and that's it.
Now, as she got older, did she have some things that were kind of her favorites and the things that she liked to do?
That's a broad question to ask. Athena loved everything. She loved life. We liked to watch movies together. It was very common for us to have movie nights, popcorn and candy. It was very common for her to want to ride her horse with her Aunt Kate. It was very common for her to want to do anything outdoors with her father, so long as her father was around. She watched him butcher animals. She watched him clear property. As long as Daddy was around, she was great with being dirty and being outside. Well, it was Friday, December 28th of 2018. I had went to work early that morning, as I did all the time, and my mom wasn't supposed to die. She was just fine, but she used to keep Athena for me whenever I went to work. And she just died. But Athena, being Athena, I don't know how she knew. I didn't train her. I didn't teach her what death was. She hadn't had death in her life. But she ran out to my Nana's house, which would be her great-grandmother. And it's about an acre away. Each of these houses are on about an acre. And she went and got help. And the only reason we know that is because there's a Ring camera outside of the house. And she just kept telling my Nana, Grammy's dead. My Nana, being my Nana, didn't grab her phone before she left the house and couldn't get into my mom's phone because it had a code on it. So she sent Athena another acre away in the opposite direction to get more help. She was only 3.5.
So at 3.5 years old, she's toddling herself all over the place to try to help your mom.
That
Yes.
line. I had 24 hours left with her. Think about that. How many times do people say goodbye, thinking they'll see someone again? There was no warning, no moment that told her, this is the last hug, the last, I love you. And now, she has to live with that moment
Do you
forever.
remember that time?
I do.
And where were you at that time when you got the information that she had just been missing?
I was in my house. My phone had died, and Jacob called my little sister, who was too far out from me. So she called my older sister, and my older sister came banging on the door like you would have thought the house was on fire. And I opened the door and she said, Athena's missing. And immediately I said, no, she's not. So I went and got my phone, and Jacob's name popped up on my phone.
How far is it from your house in Oklahoma to County Road 3573 that we've been talking about?
Typically, it's about a 2-hour drive.
And how fast did you make that drive on that particular day?
I made it within 45 minutes.
Now let me ask you, did you go straight there? Or did you have a stop along the way?
Unfortunately, I let my car run pretty clear out of gas, and I said that I would get gas before work the next morning. So I had to stop and get gas in Comanche.
And so then you found your way this direction.
Yes, I did.
Some people will say that moms know when things happen. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
How do you know something wasn't right?
On my way down to Jacob's house, I stayed on the phone with him pretty well most of the way until I got to about Ryan, Oklahoma. And then it felt like I was dying. I couldn't breathe. but I knew I had to keep going. I almost tapped the brakes because I thought I was having a heart attack.
You start to
But I
see
just-
who Athena really was. Not just a victim, but a child full of energy, curiosity, and even bravery. A 3-year-old, running for help, trying to save her grandmother. That tells you everything about her. She wasn't just loved, she gave love.
Find out what happened. What do you do during that time period?
When I got there, an officer asked me who I was. I told him I was Athena's mom. He directed me back inside my Jeep and told me that they were bringing dogs out and that my scent could throw the dogs off, so I had to stay inside my Jeep.
And then during those next 2 days, what are you doing during those next 2 days?
At 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, December 1st, an officer had told me that they had taken away the dogs and I could get out of the vehicle, and I asked him, can I search myself? He said yes. So Ashley's dad, Jacob's dad, my uncle, and Jacob and I went out and searched all of Jacob's property and the surrounding properties, even though all of those people were probably sound asleep in their own beds, and we didn't ask permission. And later that day, when more volunteers had come out and more officers arrived, I had talked to a few different investigators throughout the time. I walked lineups. I walked that county road over and over and over again. I searched Jacob's ponds, but she wasn't there. And I'm not from that county, so I didn't know where else to go. And I didn't know where else to look.
And then
I just
everything shifts. That moment when her sister bangs on the door. Athena's missing. You can hear it. That instant denial. Because no parent wants to believe that. But deep down, something changes. That drive, where she says she felt like she was dying. That's not just panic. That's a mother feeling that something is terribly wrong before anyone says it out loud.
When you're told that Athena's no longer with us, what's your first reaction?
I wanted to tell Sheriff Aiken that he didn't know what he was talking about. I asked him if I could confirm that that was my daughter, and he told me no, because she looks too bad. And I went into a place of denial. I stopped breathing and I started to black out as I heard Ashley screaming. I knew it. I knew it was him.
And this part is heartbreaking in a different way, because it's not dramatic, it's not loud, it's just searching, walking roads, checking ponds, going over the same ground again and again, holding on to hope, even when something inside you knows. You might not find what you're looking for.
Is that right?
Yes.
Did that happen?
Yes. On Tuesday, December 6th of 2022, I was allowed to see Athena for the first time. I went in about an hour before I'd actually told Jacob to show up, because I didn't know what she would look like, and I didn't know how bad it would be. And I didn't want him to see our daughter like that. So I went in around 8 in the morning with just my dad. and her ears were messed up, and she had incision lines, and her chin was scraped up. And so we put her in a hospital gown because I didn't have clothes for her, and she was naked. And I searched her body looking for any reason that that wasn't my baby.
And then comes the moment no parent should ever hear. Not confirmation, but refusal. They told me I couldn't see her because it was too bad. That tells you everything, without saying everything. And her reaction? Denial, because sometimes the truth is so painful, your mind refuses to accept it.
I'm gonna make a guess that Athena didn't stay in that little gown very long, did she?
No, she did not. It wasn't pretty enough.
Tell me what Mom does to go fix that.
Well, I wasn't from Wise County. I didn't know where to go or what to do, and I couldn't sleep. So I wandered around Walmart until I found a few dresses to pick from, and I wanted to make sure that she was just, when I got to her, she was so cold, and she didn't like the cold. So I wanted to make sure that she was dressed. So I picked out clothes. I picked out socks and panties and shoes and leggings and dresses. And I wanted to make sure she had one of her bows. So I got her some bows.
This is where the case becomes almost unbearable. A mother preparing her child after death, covering injuries, choosing clothes, walking through Walmart in the middle of the night. Not because she wants to, but because she still has to be a mom. That instinct doesn't stop. Even in the worst moment of her life, she's thinking she doesn't like the cold. She needs to look pretty. That's love in its rawest form.
We had Athena's funeral on December 9th of 2022. I got her ashes the next morning on December 10th of 2022. And that was also Ryland's 3rd birthday. And I brought her sister home. It just wasn't the way I was supposed to.
And then reality hits again. She brings her daughter home, but not the way she was supposed to. On her sister's birthday, that contrast, life and death in the same moment. It's something most people can't even imagine handling.
During the course of this case, have you ever missed a hearing?
One.
And why do you make it a point to be at every hearing that we've had in this case?
Because I had to cover up handprint bruises around my daughter's neck. And because she no longer has a voice. And I want people to know that she's not just some story. She's not just some number. She's not just some picture you see in a headline. She was loved. She is loved. And she is missed. And she was real. And she had a life. And she wanted to live. And no one can take that from her. Not a single person can take that from her. And I will be her face, and I will be her voice, and I will make sure that every
This,
person...
right here, is why this testimony matters. She's not just a story, not just a number. Because in cases like this, people forget. They see headlines, they hear details, but they don't always see the life behind it. This mother is making sure no one forgets.
I read Tanner Horner's arrest affidavit where he said he hit her with a truck and he panicked. So he attempted to break her neck and then it didn't work. So he strangled her.
And when you hear what the accused admitted, it's almost impossible to process. There are no words that make it make sense. And honestly, there shouldn't be. Because some actions don't deserve explanation, only accountability.
Do you talk to Athena sometimes?
I talk to her every day.
What do you say to her when you talk to her?
I tell her that I'm sorry, that I wasn't there to protect her and to stop him. I tell her that I love her. And I talk to her about Rye and what she's doing in life and how much she loves and misses her. And I tell her about you and about Pat and about Michelle and about my attorneys and how y'all are working really hard to make sure that she's not forgotten and that she didn't just die and that we'll get justice for her.
We hear people say that if they just had a few more minutes to talk to somebody that they no longer have. You heard that before?
I've thought about it a lot.
I'm asking. If you had those few minutes to talk to Athena right now, today, sitting in this room, what would you tell her?
I'd tell her I'm sorry. And I would tell her how much she means to me and her daddy and to her sisters. And how much she is loved. And how much we want her.
And in the end, it all comes back to one thing. I'm sorry. Not anger, not revenge, just a mother, wishing she could have protected her child, talking to someone who can't answer back. And that's what makes this so heavy, because this isn't just a case that ended. It's a pain that continues every single day.